Lee out in Pegram along with Coach Cook. Good afternoon, Coach Cook.
Good to be here.
Yes, sir. How about them Tigers?
Well, we've looking forward to the season opener. We had a jamboree last week. Did some really good things. Did some things okay. Some things, maybe we didn't do as good as we planned. But this is what you've been waiting on. This is, to me, if you go back when I played, or any kid that plays football, you have all these practices all week, and you get to play for 48 minutes each night. So the actual playing time is not a lot. So. I think the kids are anxious to go out there because, like I told them, for the next 11 weeks, you've got 11 games, 3 hard days of practice, a walkthrough, and it's time to go out, and reap the benefits of your hard work.
Did you, I guess, and it's kind of a silly question, but I know you got a better feel possibly, and I'm sure you worked on it during the week, but were there any what's your major area of concern at this point right now? Can you, and I'm not trying to pick on the defense or pick on the offense or pick on the special teams, but and I know that your offense, it breaks down to 3 segments: offense, defense, and special teams. Which one do you think that you need the most on at this point?
Well, probably all of them, because last week we was going to do some special teams against Itawamba, but it rained so much before the game. Coach Collins didn't want to tear his field up so bad, so we kind of did away with special teams as far as being live. So now you look at coming into this game, we have not went over. We have live special teams against another opponent. We've had them in practice against each other. So that's one area that stands out to me. Defensively, I'm anxious to see, are we better against the run? Do we tackle better? I thought as the game wore on the other night, we actually probably played a little better defense than we did starting out. Offensively, we started out, you couldn't script it any better. I believe we had a 7-play drive, 70-yard touchdown on opening drive. Second drive, I believe, was a 6-play, 70-yard touchdown drive. And that's what you want. But as the game wore on, right there in the middle, I thought we kind of flattened out offensively. Wasn't making the plays we were earlier. And then there at the end, a chance to come back and was so close, to tying that game up. And that's a game of football. You don't ever know which play. I've always said there's 6 plays in every game that's going to help you win or lose. Well, you don't know which 6 it's going to be,
Or when it's going to happen.
Or when it's going to happen, and I'm anxious to see, how we respond, opening kickoff return. Well, we're either going to be on kickoff return or we're going to be on kickoff. And, and that'll kind of set the tone for the night.
Do you play back when my age group was playing, usually you had your offensive guys, well, most of the time people went both ways. But you put your what you call substitute special teams. That's not necessarily the case anymore, is it?
No, sir. I try to use all my starters. Luckily, right now, I believe we've got 3 kids that are going both ways. You don't get that much in 3A. Now, I'm anxious to see, can we keep that lineup on offense and defense all year, or do we need to substitute? Because the only thing I by is what I see in a game, because I know I've seen it in practice. I've seen us go against each other, each day, and I'm trying to figure out what our strengths and what our weaknesses are. Whereas special teams, I learned this in college. If you look at any college football team, when I played at Ole Miss, you're starting 11 on punt. There's a lot of times you're 11 best, 10 in your punter. And that's what we've done here. I've tried to put the best players out there because they're so important. You kick off once. That's it.
That's right.
Either you win that play or you lose that play. Whereas offense, you may not win on first down, you got second down. All right. Defensively, you may give up 30 yards on the first play. Well, then you got a chance to rebound and hold them. Kickoff return, it's one and done. Punt return, it's one and done. Extra point, field goal blocks, one and done. And you've got to win that play.
I like the way you look at it. That's you get that into it. Let me get down into it to a minute. You hear you read the papers, and you hear commentators during the ball game talk, and the emphasis is on, Ripley's got 200 yards rushing, and Fulton had 300 yards rushing. But to me, there's really 2 important stats. First stat, 3rd down conversions. To me, that's very important in my mind, and I always like to hear that stat. That pretty well lets you know. Have you got a certain concentration? And I know you do, but do you emphasize that to the boys when you practice the third down, you know, you got to keep our defense off the field, boys. You got to get that. And then how do you go into it? Now they're coming in with something new. I've noticed on the broadcast, and of course I've noticed that well, it's third and manageable, which usually means it's third and less than 4. They call that a manageable third down. So I guess they're talking about, you know, it's not overcome to run the ball or pass a screen, use a screen, or make a pass. But how do you attack the third down? Do you work off of that philosophy of third down and you got to get the conversions?
Well, yes, sir, and I go about it a little different way.
Am I making sense
Yes,
on how to
I know
ask the
exactly
question?
what you're saying. What I concentrate on is first down. I always tell our kids, we got to stay ahead of the chains. Right? If you stay ahead of the chain, what I mean by first down, we need 3 yards. Right? Because to me, a successful offense is successful. If you'll go back and look at any offense you've ever seen that consistently, day in and day out, that are good offenses, they win first down. All right? What does that do? You get 3 to 4 yards on first down, now you're 2nd and 6. All right? If you're a defensive coordinator and it's 2nd and 6, okay, think about it. They could throw it, they could run it. All right? So you kind of pretty much, you'll play not always exactly a vanilla defense, but it's kind of, okay, which one is it? Now, if you play first down really good and get into the 2nd and 3, 2nd and 2, now they sure enough don't really know what you're going to do. You can take a shot downfield, you can play action or whatever. Then when you get into 2nd down, I've always tried to get to me, 3rd and 5. 3rd and 5 gives you a chance, to complete it. Whereas you look at the other night when we played Itawamba, those 2 drives that we scored on, the first 2 drives, we were really, really good on first down. I'm talking about really good. I know first play of the game, it was 2nd and 2. The second time we got to 2nd down, it was 2nd and 3. And then that was it on the first drive.
Well, along those lines, what you just said, you'll hear the analysts, and these are ex-football players that know what they're talking about. I respect the John Grudens. I don't like John Gruden, but I respect him. He's real smart. You know what I'm talking about. And they'll sit there and say on 2nd down, I've heard this a million times in the broadcast on listening to them, they'll sit there and say, this is an excellent down to throw the long one. And just, in other words, you've got to, really they're saying you got to play to throw away. If you have to, this is a good time to test your vertical game.
Yep.
Is that what you
yes,
think they're alluding
because
to?
as a defensive coordinator, it's hard to, football is a cat and mouse game. You got one guy on one side of the ball calling the plays, and one of them's calling the defense to stop what he thinks you're gonna run. Well, if you look at the other night again on first down, we threw about a 45-yard pass. We hadn't threw it on first down, I don't believe, but once. All right, so we kind of caught them by surprise, gained 40 yards. We got a pass interference. So now they backed us up, and it's second. Not only do you lose 15 yards, you lose the down. So now it's 2nd and 25. All right. Well, if you're defensive coordinator, 2nd and 25, they've got to. When you're backed up to, you've got to get 25 yards in 2 plays. Well, defensive coordinator is supposed to sit back and make you run it. Whereas if you try to throw it on 2nd and 25, now you're 3rd and 25.
Yeah.
And when you're
kind of predictable then.
You're predictable. And if you're sitting there in a game and it's 3rd and 18.
You got to throw it.
You don't have a play for that. You're going right into the hands of the defense. Right. They've widened their tackles out. They're not respecting the inside run game. Right. They've backed the linebackers up. They got their safeties sitting back there at 15 to 18, make them catch it, drive up, and tackle. You're not getting behind a good defense on 3rd and 15 because they're already back. They're going to force you to throw a 7-8 yard completion, drive up and tackle, make you punt and get out of it.
They let you have the 7-8 yard
exactly,
completion.
and that's where I've preached to our guys, we cannot get behind the chains. If you complete a 3rd and 15 or 3rd and 16, either the opponent's not very good or you got bad lucky. Some kid on your offense made a couple people miss, with the ball.
That situation we're just talking about basically takes the playbook and your imagination as the head coach and what you can do out of your hands, and it puts it in the defensive coordinator on the other side. He knows what you got to do. You're predictable, so he can defense.
And in a lot of teams, you'll face a one-high look on defense, and predictable downs, run downs. They got more people around the box stop to run. When you get in 3rd and 15, 3rd and 18, 2nd and 20, they're going to too high look. All right, that is really hard on high school quarterbacks because the coverages they play, that's what they're playing. When that ball snapped, they're playing pass. And now the windows on the passing game close drastically. And and if you stay ahead of the chains, you give yourself, a lot of times that's when you big play people. 2nd and 1, they think and run, or 3rd and 1, and you go to play action, or any of that, and it's a cat and mouse game. Every coach looks good when you're good on 1st down, and every coach looks bad on 3rd and 15. But you can ask any coach. 3rd and 15, it's just like a lot of times, if you notice the other night, I threw a little screen on 3rd and 15 because I'm thinking maybe if they back off and we get the ball outside quick, we can make a move, because there was nothing down the field, in the vertical game.
All this is good stuff, folks. I like this stuff. This is good stuff because you can see the strategies go on, and that seems to be a key, what you want to call stat. I call that a stat. That seems to be a key stat now in how they describe it. Another key stat in watching and listening to football, and we'll get from now till February, and I know that everybody's going to be glued to TVs watching all these games, and there's so much of it now. But the red zone, how many times they got into the red zone? They got in the red zone 5 times and only scored 6 points. So they're not successful in the red zone. How do you emphasize that to your players?
Well, we usually work that at least once or twice a week. What I tell the offense is the defense is sitting there. You just say once you get to the 10, they've only got to cover really 19 yards of space because we got 1 yard and you're out of the end zone. So they don't have to.
They've got the end. They've got actually the field as a player. That's 12 man.
Yep, you got 2 defenses. Because they're not going to get fooled on anything deep because you can't go deep. So they're kind of sitting on everything. And I've always said that's where your run game comes in hand when you get in the red zone. That the defense has a 12th man as far as the back of the end zone. Well, you've got to luckily here we've got a running quarterback, and that kind of equals out. I like to get my quarterback out of the pocket to give him a run first option. If we can seal the edge, not only is it a pass, but he's got a run option. Instead of sitting in the pocket a lot where he's pretty much got to throw it. So we do work that. It's according to who we playing and what they do, according to how we tackle them.
Are we doing the kind of option? I watched ESPN Classic had. I don't know whether you may have watched this. It had the Oregon LSU National Championship game on a couple of nights ago. Did you watch that?
No, sir.
It was on late.
Okay.
One of the main things that Auburn did is, are we running the type of option with our quarterback, where the quarterback and the running back are actually together, and then the quarterback makes a decision to either hand it off or spin off as they're together. And Auburn came in there and crashed both of them. What type of options? Are we running the pitch out option? I mean, am I making?
Yeah, we do both. We've got what you call scat option. That's where you quarterback catches the ball and attacks the outside.
See, like Paul Johnson with Georgia Tech. He's strictly the option, but he's on that pitch out option, like the veer. Is that what they call it?
Yeah, that's old school veer. First thing that happens, you got dive, keep, pitch. We hardly ever get to 3.
Okay.
Because I've always said in high school, unless you are a strict veer football team, if you've got 3 options on offense and the kids have got to decipher all 3, that's 2/3 of a chance to mess the play up.
Yeah.
So we do more 50-50. It's keep or pitch. All right, we run inside zone. We run the veer out of going back, and it's according to what the defense gives us. A lot of times it predicates on are they chasing backside or they squeezing, and every team plays it a little different. I want to add one thing you was talking about earlier.
I'll tell you before you go into that. Let me take our break. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back after we hear from our sponsors.
We support Tippah County Sports. Akins and Adams, attorneys. Best of luck from Jimmy and Ann Fisher and all the folks at Cardinal Drive-In. Clemmer Construction Company. Show your true colors. Play hard. We appreciate our teams and we appreciate your business. Coleman Brothers, 720 South Main, Ripley. Good luck and do your best. D's Oil, 311 City Avenue South. we're pulling for you. Delta Pharma on West Mulberry in Ripley. The very best to our teams from Discount Auto Parts, 1901 City Avenue North. Hey folks, be our guest. Fast, hot, fresh. Just for you. Dodge Store. Dr. James R. Brown, proud sponsor of Tippah County Sports on TV 19. Magnolia State Family Medicine. We're watching out for you. 10098 City Avenue North in Ripley. Dr. Marion Hill and staff wish great success for our Tippah County teams. Helping you is what we do best. Farm Bureau, 1909 City Avenue North. At Farrow Ward Ford, we believe in a quality product. Come by and see us, City Avenue North, Ripley.
Okay, we're back, and we certainly would ask that when you go in our place of business, please tell them that you saw their ad on TV 19, because we certainly wouldn't be able to bring you this show or our football program on TV 19 without them. So please patronize our sponsors and tell them you saw their ad on TV 19. That sure would help us to be able to continue to bring you the ball games at your viewing pleasure. And by the way, you'll be able to watch the football games. Ripley's football games will be rebroadcast on Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock and Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. And Coach Cook's show comes on Thursday nights at 8:30. So please mark that down. Those are three times. We'll also have a sports talk show that comes on Monday night between 6 and 7 o'clock. And we'll have a lot of comment about the Tigers on that. So there's 4 opportunities during the week on TV 19. The games will be shown in their entirety. We'll have from opening kickoff, we'll even have the bands playing. And a matter of fact, this game went up with New Albany at coaches. We have a big rivalry on football. There's a huge rivalry between Ripley and New Albany on the bands. So this game's going to have it all for you. And I'm not trying to make you nervous on your first game, but New Albany is a big rivalry, and so 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon, 8 o'clock on Tuesday nights, Thursday night at 8:30 for Coach Cook's show, and then the sports talk between 6 and 7. Now, let's see if we can pick back up where we left off. You said you wanted to go back to something that I said previously.
You know, 2 things you was talking about: third down conversion and red zone. I look at what I call hidden yardage. All right, in that game,
hidden yardage.
Hidden yardage.
Okay.
All right.
Hidden yardage. Okay.
In that game, you know, say you punt 3 or 4 times. Say you receive 3 or 4 punts. You kick off. Hopefully, you're kicking off more than you're kicking off and then kick return. Because if you're kicking off, you score some type of points. All right. Your kickoff return unit. Somewhere you're going to catch that ball and take out with it and get tackled. All right. Somewhere you're going to punt the ball or kick the ball, and they're going to catch it, and you got to tackle. Right. I keep up with what I call hidden yardage. If we start the game Friday night on kickoff return, and we only get to the 20, now our first drive, we've got to go 80 yards to score. All right. Now that's really hard to do in high school. Now you may put the first 40 of that drive, you look really good. Well, now you're only to the 40, so you're still out of field goal range and everything.
Right.
All right. Whereas you take that opening kick off, hit it to the 45 or 50. Now you've only got 50 yards. All right. You put a 40-yard drive together, you're looking at possible field goal or playing that extra down.
Right.
So now once you get down there, you've got 4 downs instead of 3. So if and that's a statistic I look at. Where'd we caught it? How many yards we got? Where they caught it? How many yards did they get? And 9 times out of 10, if you win that, you win the football game. Because you got offense, defense, special teams. That's where I count special teams.
Well, I'm going to keep up with that stat, and I'll have it for you.
Okay.
I'm going to keep up with that stat on where we start our drives. That's important. And it's field position, and you've heard Bear Bryant, that's before your time, but not mine. Bear Bryant, Paul Dietzel for LSU, and Johnny Vaught for Ole Miss. Three huge names in college football. They're all in the Hall of Fame. Three huge names. They played field position.
Yep.
And Johnny Vaught, who was Ole Miss's storied coach, he would punt on third downs. He introduced that. He had so much confidence, and he was so aware of field position. He'd punt on third down sometimes just to get the field position and back him up. He had that much confidence in his defense. But anyway, that's excellent. Your mental on a 40-yard drive is less than a mental on an 80-yard drive.
Exactly right.
That's kind of what you're saying.
Because the more plays you run, to me, the longer it takes you to score, the more amount of time it gives you, because you're dealing with 15, 16, 17-year-olds. To mess up.
That's right.
Well, the closer you are, the less amount of plays you got to go to. In my mind, it's just the way I think, right or wrong. This is Coach Cook.
All right,
The less yards you have to go, the less plays you have to run, the easier it is, mentally on your football team.
Right. Give us a little bit of cap. We got about 8 minutes left. Give us a little capsule on New Albany.
First thing stands out, Coach Price, he does an excellent job with them. I can remember when he first took that job. Me and Coach Price go way back. We talked numerous times. When he first took that job, I was actually at Shannon then, and he's done an excellent job. You look at the last 2 years, results speak for themselves.
Well, he's got 17. He had something like 21 seniors year before last. Now, he's got 17 seniors this year. So
And that tells you right there the kids play for.
That's
'cause
right.
that means those kids have been there 4 years. All right, a lot of times you get a group, you start out with 25 as ninth graders, and as you go, it steadily drops because some of them are not, either A, they get burnt out, B, they don't like the way the coach is doing or whatever it is. But to give him credit, that's great. They just had that. As far as their team, they're really big. I know this may be the fifth time I've played New Albany, maybe fourth or fifth. Their offensive line and defensive lines are really big for a 4A team. That stood out to me. Their defensive line is really aggressive. Probably the smallest one is 30. They've got one 250, and the inside guys both have to be 280, 290.
Well, that's big.
And that takes up a lot of space, and that worries you as a coach of wearing down your guys. Because I think out of the matchups, they're tight end, O-line against my defensive line and outside linebackers, and my offensive line tight ends against their defensive line and outside linebackers. I think there's one matchup where we're bigger than them, and that kind of wears on you because as the game goes on, 280 on 200, it wears.
Sooner or later,
it wears
just
on
wears you out.
Well, on the flip side of that, I'm hoping with us being a little smaller and it being hot, maybe we can get that game in the fourth quarter. And now maybe we've got a little more stamina to help us against those bigger guys. They're not going to beat themselves. They're not going to turn the ball over. You're not going to misalign them on defense. They're going to be where they're supposed to be. And it's going to be a big challenge for us. I didn't know this until last night that I was told that they won 9 out of the last 10. The series is 30, what'd you tell me,
31
to
29 and 2 ties,
And-
with Ripley leading the series.
And I had no idea that they had won 9 out of the last 10. And, and that's, and hopefully,
They kind of owned us over the last decade.
we can switch
Since
that,
the turn of the turn of the century.
Yep.
It's been kind of New Albany. I hope we can
And-
switch it.
and we're looking forward to it. I always tell our guys, I always watch film of the opponent to kind of see what they do and how they do it. But to me, the battle Friday night is Ripley versus Ripley. Now, my kids looked at me when I tell them that like I'm crazy, playing Ripley. There's certain things we can control in that game, and there's certain things we cannot control. We cannot control how big they are, how fast they are, anything to do with that. But what we can control is doing our assignment. All right?
How you react.
Do your assignment every play. Well, you may be outmatched, but as long as you fight every play, you never know, the guy may can only stick one hand out and make the tackle or whatever. As long as we don't take plays off, we can control if we turn the ball over. It's 2 hands on the ball every time you get hit. Or if you stick it out there with one arm, you're asking for him to take it. We can control how we prepare all week. I tell the kids every day, you either prepare to win or you prepare to lose. And that's what happens Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We can control what we do there. And that's what, there's certain things that sticks out in my mind when we play on Friday night. Did we control what we can do? If you go in the game, you beat yourselves on the fundamentals, the little things you preach every day in practice, how you going to be the good 4A football team? And once we get that mentality of we're going to do exactly what we've got to do every day, every rep, we will have a chance to beat some good football teams. And I'm anxious to see how much progress we've made, going into Friday night, because I know our guys are fired up. We're going to play them extremely hard. We're going to give them everything we got. We've come a long way, and I've been proud of my guys for accepting the challenge, accepting this new coaching staff, and trying to get this season started right.
Has your coaching staff, I guess now they've gotten familiarized with names and all that kind of stuff, has that kind of gelled to you to a certain degree, to your satisfaction, yeah?
I remember my first day when I walked in that locker room back in March. I knew Ralph Green. All right, the reason I knew Ralph Green because he played for me when he was a 9th grader at Shannon. That's it.
Yeah.
Didn't know one other kid in that room. Did not know Coach Harrison. Never met him before. And then I brought I brought Rico back.
Right.
I brought Coach Buchanan from Shannon with me, and I hired Sam Hathorn. So we've got a good staff. Coach Gafford, the baseball coach, helps us out on Friday night, and Coach England, junior high coach, helps us out on Friday night. So that's the main 7.
Okay. Well, we'll get into that also. I tell you, we've got so little left. All I'll say is that New Albany, folks, is a big game for Ripley. And, Coach, we certainly appreciate you coming on this afternoon to let us get an insight. This is a weekly show. You'll be able to tune in on Thursday nights at 8:30. To see Coach Cook talk about the game we just played and the game we're going to play, and give us an insight onto his philosophy on football. And if his first show was an indication of philosophies, we're right on. And I want to get into next week his spread. Do you call it a spread, or what do you call your offense? Basketball on grass. There we go. We'll call it basketball on grass. All right, this is Lee Allen Pegram along with Coach Cook from Ripley Tigers. We'll see you in New Albany. Good night.
We have everything you need. Food Giant, City Avenue North, Ripley. We're proud of our students and student athletes. Huddle House, Highway 15 South, Ripley. Lindsay Davis and Associates. We love our Tippah County teams. Do your best. Good luck to our athletes. Play hard. Love's Northside Mini Storage. 837-9669. We love our Tippah County teams. McBride Funeral Home, Ripley. Play hard and come by and enjoy a game day special at McDonald's in Ripley. Donna and Tim McMillan of McMillan Graphics are behind our athletes all the way. Go team! We service what we sell. McNeil Insurance Agency, 2009 Highway 15 North in Ripley. Proud sponsors of our Tippah County athletes. MedPro, 205 South Main in Ripley. Great athletes, great teams, great schools. Good luck from Norris Howell, 107 Dumas Road. The professionals at Primary Care Clinic of Ripley wish our student athletes, staff, and coaches all the best this season. Your local commercial dumpster service, RES, the best value in North Mississippi. Go team! For that special occasion, or just to say, I love you. Stone's Jewelry, 101 Hospital Street, Ripley.